new here or haven't watched these videos for a while or just need to catch up, we're sort of midway through rebuilding two 1984 Yamaha IT490s. Where we are at the moment is all the items are with the relevant professionals out to get their specific jobs done. So like suspensions with the suspension guy getting rebuilt and sprung to our weight. Engines have been torn down awaiting parts. Frames have been redone. So on and so forth. Today is a bit of a focus on wheels. Earlier this week we went to Central Wheel Components and they're rebuilding our wheels for us. Today there'll be a bit of a focus on wheels. You'll see the completed wheels first up, and then you'll get a bit of a masterclass in wheel building from the guys at Central Wheel. Karl and Steve are the guys over there who are building them, so they're going to build them in real time. So that's actually something that I found very interesting, and I hope you do too. Also, quick shout out to our sponsors. Seriously, without your help, these builds would not be happening. They'd just be dead in the water. If you've been watching the videos, you'll know that one of these bikes, mine, is not in a very good state and has needed so much doing to it. Just one of the things I'm about to update you on, an airbox. The airbox that came off the bike, surprise, surprise, was off a YZ490, so wasn't ideal. So I ended up having to get one from America, and I'm just going to show you that now. All right. It's just an airbox, but these things are so hard to find. The only issue I can see with this, dirty, who cares, is that's there's been a bolt snapped off in there or something. And, this is all right though. These are so hard to find. It took me a while to get one of them. Have a look at this. Got this in the mail from the States a couple of days ago. Cylinder head. Just about to go to Steve Smith, the engine builder. So got a cracked fin though. So what Steve's going to do is he's got to weld up the left-hand side crankcase. He's got to get that welded up. At the same time, he's going to get this welded up and fixed. Also, Keith is going to put a decompressor on this head. I think he said his mate's already got a jig for these to put a decompressor. And what that'll mean is I think they're going to cut some fins out, or some bits of the fins, and put another hole in the cylinder head so that you can relieve pressure so that the bike's easier to start. All right, so here's the wheels for the ITs done. These were done at Central Wheel Components. These are their SM Pro rims, the strongest ones that they've got. So they've done the whole job. Hubs are Cerakoted. When they do the hubs, they do a sandblast as well. So this is actually one of the old hubs that's been used, that's had use. There's a tiny little lip on there. You can see that there. This is the second hand, that's Jason's wheel. This is the second hand hub that I got. So it's got a tiny little bit of rust in there. So sandblasted that, but it's obviously got quite strong rust in there. But what will happen is when the drum is used, that will be fine. When they true the wheel, they run a screwdriver in here or some tool to check that the drum is running true as well, so that there's no overlysing or anything like that. Have a look at the Cerakote. Cerakote's actually a ceramic type paint, as I understand it, and they also bake that in the oven like a powder coat. It's quite a strong, very light finish. I thought this would be an interesting comparison. This is Jason's hub, so this is his old hub that was ceramic coated versus my brand new one from CMS, which we wanted to get sandblasted and then Cerakoted as well, so the colour was an exact match. But not much in that. And then also if you run your finger in there, so this is Jason's used hub, so there's a tiny little lip there. This is my brand new one from CMS, still a tiny little lip there. So there's not much wear in that at all. Central Wheel also did our brake plates. So have a look at this. This is Jason's. I've got to be very, very careful not to mix the parts up. Jason will kill me. So this is Jason's brake plate. This is the rear. It how nice that's come up. So that's Cerakoted, exactly the same as that's the front hub obviously, but Cerakoted exactly the same as the hub, so it all matches. That's his front one there. What I did notice is, see how like these sort of pit around there? The Cerakoting does show up the pitting. I mean, I don't care about that, but you know, just for reference, that's what it does. Because it's such a thin, light layer of paint. I quite like that anyway. One issue we've had is this is my rear brake plate. This is the wrong size. You might remember this was my old one. So you can see all that's all eaten out in there and just totally worn out. Anyone wants that, let me know in the comments, they can have it for postage. This is the one I got on eBay to replace it. I bought it as a IT490 part, but it's not. It's obviously a different size to that one. So someone's going to get a really nice one of those. This is my front one. Look in there, those things all eaten out again. I'm fine with that though. Once the levers are on there to operate the brake, that'll hide all that. So totally useful. Look at that though, nice, eh? Thought we may as well do some weighing. So this is the old wheel that I had on the front of the bike. So the rim looked nice. Had a powder coater on there, it was a grey powder coat. Weight came in at 4 kgs exactly. And then this is the central wheels component wheel with the SM Pro rim. So like for like, bearings in this one as well. So this is 3.870. So what I'm going to show you now is one of the wheels being built up in its entirety by the guys at Central Wheel. Yesterday we did a full factory tour video, which is going to go on our main channel. That's about, I was looking at it this morning, it's going to be about 40 minutes. Very interesting, go through all the process from the spokes, brims, they do the powder coating, the Cerakoting, all the processes they do in-house, we show it. And also the wheel being built up and then the wheels being trued up by their master truer that they have there. He's got like 45 years experience. So you're going to see him in this video. Actually, he's going to be at the end truing our wheel up on the bike. So yeah, enjoy it. Just caught myself protecting these rims with this plastic. But as soon as they go on the bike and you're riding it, all this protection goes out the window. But you know, it's good to keep them nice for a bit, isn't it? Keeps Keith happy. So when he's building it up, it's perfect.
Going to build the wheel here. This is the front hub. Got spokes laid out here. I'm just going to make sure I've got the rim on the right way round. I was checking by the angle. I'm going to put this on here just to stop the spokes getting scratched.
How do you know it's the right way around, mate?
You can tell by, you got the angles on here. So on this side here, the angles are pointing up more for more of a smaller flange on here. And then on when you flip it over, you'll have more of an angle on for the wider part of the hub.
Yep.
So just putting this on to protect your rim from the spokes.
Oh, you put it right around the outside?
Yeah, I'm just putting it around the outside of the rim. This is because I've got to put some of all your spokes in at the same time to stop it getting damaged. So first of all, you get your hub. These are for the smaller side. One spoke's slightly longer than the other for the inner and outer holes there.
How much longer?
About an eighth of an inch. Not that much. There's not much in it at all.
Visible to you, though?
Yeah, visible for me. So the shorter spoke would go on in the inner hole. So just slot these in. So now I'll do the same process again with the outer spoke. So now they're all in safely. So I'll just flip it over. Just get these all flattened out.
What are the easy bits to screw up for a novice wheel builder?
Putting them in the wrong way, in the wrong holes, is one of the main problems, and making sure that you get this side done properly first. So you get your rim, you just plunk that on top, just to make sure the spokes don't get damaged. So then you got these here. These are an inner and outer spoke. So the inner spoke has less angle on than the outer one, so that just bends over to go over there a bit more easily. So then you should look at the marks on the hub, just so your customer's happy with the spokes going the right way. So you just drop these in.
So when you say the customer's happy, what?
Because obviously you can see you've got some marks there from the original build.
I see, yeah.
You don't want them showing again on the next time you're building it.
Yeah. People moan about that, do they?
Yeah, of course, yeah. You want him looking pristine, don't they? So.
Yep.
So I'll just move that a sec. Just get it all straight.
And this is my mate Jason's hub, so my wheels have been done, apparently. And this is Jason's.
So you drop that on.
Yep.
So then obviously you've got your spoke facing this way, and you'll have two sets of dimples there. One spoke hole is facing that way and one's facing that way. So obviously that spoke, so you want it going down to the right. So all we do is just do the wheel up, just this one side. Just make sure the wheel's got a twist on it.
Move that mic a touch. Yep.
What you do is you tighten these up just a little bit, keep a bit of thread showing, so you've got a bit of movement. You don't want to get in too tight at the beginning.
We could probably time-lapse this. How long is this all going to take?
This one shouldn't take too long. To build it, it'll take me 5-10 minutes.
Oh.
This one shouldn't be too bad if I build it right. So now the inner spoke's done. So then what I'll do is then I'll stick the outer spoke in. You just slide it through, hold this the opposite way, and obviously you'll go match the pattern up to the dimple. Yep. On this pattern here you've got crossing 3 on the drum side, so you've got 1, 2, 3 spokes. And as long as you carry on with that pattern, you should be okay.
Do all the manufacturers, like because this bike's 1984, so was there sort of a standard that all the Japanese manufacturers follow?
No, not necessarily. Some of them, well, if you had a hub looking like this, some of them would actually only have it crossing 2 spokes on the drum and then 3 on the other side, or sometimes it can be 2 and 2. It depended on the manufacturer and who designed the hub at the time.
Yeah. But you sort of know because you've been doing
because I've been doing, because I've done them so many times.
Yeah.
And because of spoke lamps as well, you can see, you can sort of see the pattern working out itself anyway.
And like ITs, how many ITs do you reckon you've done?
Do you know, I didn't do too many. This week, no, in the last couple of weeks, I think I've done 3. Okay. And I haven't done many at all. So yeah, it's been a bit strange when you chopped yours in.
Anything odd about the way that they're laced?
No, the only pain is that you've got to have these spokes here, potentially being able to scratch the other side of the rim.
Yeah.
Because you can't put them in them spokes in before there, because obviously you can't get the drum side in.
Mate, how are normal people meant to know all this? When they put something together, like they think it's just to put the spokes in, true it up.
They certainly do. Yeah, they do. That's why you get a lot of people buying stuff from us, saying I'll have a go myself.
Yeah. And
then a couple of months later down the line, you notice that we've got the hub and the spokes and the rims in front of us. So then they want me to do it.
What a waste of
time. And they spent hours, and then sometimes the state of the rim is so scratched. It's quite disheartening, really. But So I'll just put the last couple in here.
So how we're doing this build is we're getting like a lot of people who know what they're doing to do their bits along the way. And the more I learn about it, the more I learn that I had no chance. In the beginning, if I thought I was going to do this myself,
Yeah.
it's like starting a new career.
Yeah, there is a bit of once you've done so many in your life, you get used to doing them all. So, but obviously when you do start, it can be quite daunting. So then I've done the drum side now, so I'll just flip that over. Just get all these spokes away from the edge of your rim.
So we just did a factory tour.
Yeah.
And we talked about, because I saw a lot of machinery, I was like, oh, that metal's touching that rim. And I said to Scott, doesn't that like scratch it? And he was like, they're very hard to scratch.
Yeah, alley rims are easier to scratch.
Yeah.
The chrome and the stainless. If this was a chrome and stainless rim, I wouldn't need this on here. Okay. Because it wouldn't scratch it. It would be a bit harder to do. So, but because it's an alley rim and I don't want to scratch it, I'll cover it all up nicely. So now, smaller side. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky. You've got to make sure that you've got your inner and outer spoke going the right direction. So what I would do is I'll just bring the spoke over left and right, so just to make sure that I'm going in the right hole. Obviously that hole's poking the wrong direction, so that's wrong. So I'll just go there, and then what I'll do is I'll go around the whole wheel and just drop the inner spokes in.
Now you guys have Cerakoted these hubs for us.
Yeah.
And does it matter? I noticed the bearings in that one. Doesn't matter if the bearing's in or not.
Yeah, because it's heat treated, you need to take the bearings out really.
Ideally, you should.
Yeah, ideally you should. Yeah. Yeah, because the bearings will end up getting damaged. So they've done that.
They're scrap anyway.
Yeah, so if you're going to change them, then it won't be too bad.
Doesn't matter.
So then you just drop these in to the corresponding holes. Just get the bit up. And then it's plainly quite obvious where spokes have got to go. You've only got 2 sets there.
Are you going to true this up for us?
Steve, yeah, he's the master truer. I'm not quite mastered that bit just yet, to be honest. So I can do it, but it just takes. You'll be here for a lot longer than if Steve was.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been here just under 20 years, on and off. Yeah, so.
On and off.
On and off. Yeah, I escaped and then come back. They had me back. 13 years now. This month actually, I've been back. Yeah. I've been doing it since I was about 18.
Okay, what? This bit?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. Just mainly the wheel building, so I don't tend to get on the truing very often.
And you're not sick of it?
Yeah, well, you're not going to put it on the TV then, I love the job, but yeah, it's all right. You do get a bit fed up. Yeah, yeah. But I prefer doing this than, say, just assembling the hubs together. Then, yeah, I can get quite bored doing that. But this is different every wheel, so.
We're almost there.
Yeah, yeah.
And these are the strongest wheels you do, aren't they?
Like the rims?
Rims, yeah.
Yeah,
wheels.
yeah.
What's so strong about them?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. Ali's lighter and stronger, so what it is, you're getting a better product because it's a lighter rim, and it's just as strong as a steel one, so you're just getting the lightness out of it as well.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your.
Is that it?
There's the finished product.
Huh. And then cut to Steve over there, who's going to true it.
So the first thing we do is we want to start tensioning the wheel. We start from a starting point. Here is the valve hole. All the spokes are in sort of like groups of 4, whether it's 36 hole or 40 hole. doesn't really make much difference. So I'm just going to basically go around it now and tension gradually, not all at once, because we want to keep the wheel round, hopefully. And this usually takes quite a while, but it's a gradual process. Obviously, if you started hammer and tooth winding down the nipple or the spoke, you'd have an odd result. So it's a gradual process.
Would you say therapeutic or not really?
Some people say it's therapeutic, sometimes it's a lot of work to do. But you get into a rhythm of it, you know.
How long have you been doing it?
About 45 years.
Okay, that's a long time.
That's a long time, yeah. So basically what I'm trying to replicate a machine, if a machine was doing it, so you have to sort of like take the place of the machine.
Yeah. Scott was telling us before, shout out to Scott, we did a factory tour with him, which is on our main channel.
Yeah, yeah.
But Scott was telling us before that, you know, you just do it by feel. And
That's
by
right, it is, really, yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
What are the easy things to do wrong at this point?
Well, it's basically, we find all sorts of things wrong, like the spokes being the wrong length or something like that, which it can catch you out sometimes. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, you have to be sort of overall look at the bigger picture and not tighten all the spokes at the same time, basically.
Yeah.
So as you can see here, the spokes are winding down.
What about spoke tension, mate?
It depends on the size and the power of the bike, and obviously the gauge of the spoke.
Yeah.
Obviously a small bike, the 125 50cc, would never have the big spokes as a big bike. Mm-hmm. And obviously on the big super bikes, they need to be under a stronger tension.
So when you say stronger tension, you don't actually have a tensioner.
No, again that's right, yeah. It's all down to hand tension at the end of the day.
So you like to know, like, what wheel the bike's for, how much power it's got, intended use, all that sort of stuff.
And obviously a rear wheel would need a stronger tension than a front wheel.
Yeah. So you got any top tips for when we ding our wheels, take them back?
Well, it's part of the maintenance of the motorcycle itself to check the tension of your spokes occasionally from time to time. Mm-hmm. Obviously we get a lot of off-road bikes, and then they obviously seal them up all use. Yeah. But now I'm going to start tensioning it by this screwing key here. Okay. Again, it's basically the same process. So I'm going to start at a point that I know of, and we're just going to do it's about 4 turns on each spoke, and that way, hopefully, we get it even. As you can see, I'm just pretending to be a machine, basically. But having said that, we do have had machines in the past. We have robots that do these, and to be honest, they can be sort of like we have to check them anyway, because obviously the computer can sort of miss a spoke or something like that.
So you may as well do it by hand if you're going to check it anyway.
Yeah, basically. If you're going to be doing it as long as I have, the time you set up the machine and press the buttons and set it all up, I'm already halfway through tensioning the wheel. But all the wheels that we're doing on all the marketing machines were all hand tested afterwards to make sure they haven't missed. And of course, the end result, the other tension. As you can see now, it's going to be becoming quite round now. And sometimes the hubs are not symmetrical, as with the dimensions of the hub. So therefore, you might get a few spokes that will need tightening more than others.
Huh. That's it. You would never have thought that. You think the casting's going to be like spot on, don't you?
That's it. I'm going to start looking at where the rim is in relation to the hub now, because I don't want it to be out. We can usually sort of manipulate the rim at this early stage rather than later. Obviously, if we tensioned it and trued it, then undo it and sort of like put on the tension or offset, it'll be all over the place. So I tend to true the wheel loose and tighten it at the end.
Okay, so do you think you could do this blindfolded?
Just about. It's all done by eye, because the time it takes you to set up machines and dial gauges and that, you're already almost there with it, you know.
Let's have a
As
look.
you can see there, it's becoming more round now. So, and I can see now it's about, this wheel is about 12 mil, or about half an inch. So I'm just going to make sure the rim's going to go over to its half-inch offset.
Half-inch offset?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
We have databases that tells me what it is, basically. It's not all the rims are never, you imagine the rims are all central to the hub, but not always. They always have what they call an offset, that is where the rim is into a part of the drum. It's not in the centre of the hub. So basically now I'm just truing it loosely, so it's roughly in the right position. And because this is just a one-off wheel, it's a production wheel, I'm treating it as a one-off wheel. So this is the way I do it anyway. And you can see now.
One-off wheel? I don't know.
Yeah, you can't get on a jig or anything like that. Just
Oh
one
right,
hand.
okay.
Yeah. So there's hardly any tension on the spokes as this stage at the moment, but I'll do the tensioning later on. It's just a question of trial and error with all this business here. I'm just tensioning and slacking it off as we go. Sometimes it's a bit easier to explain the offside rule than it is trimming a wheel. But over the years, you just learn to know what spokes to tension.
How many do you do a day?
Again, it depends on the type of wheel it is. But on Triumph production, we were doing about 40 wheels a day.
Triumph bikes?
Triumph production bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what? One of the new ones?
Yeah, and Triumph Meriden. I used to do the Triumph bikes at Meriden.
Oh right.
The old oily, leaky ones.
Yeah.
We were on 40 wheels a day.
And you're on 40 wheels a day in the
40 wheels a
factory?
day, yeah.
Yeah.
But having said that, we got used to know, did so many of them, you just got good at you do any job, you do it a long time, you get good at it.
So I just saw you had a Norton Commando.
That's right.
The
961, that's right, yeah.
961, yeah. You just had one of those in.
Yeah.
You do the wheels for Norton, don't you?
Yeah. There's nothing like experience, as they say. Of course, the machines, the robot machines, are not that quick. You imagine it's not done in a jiffy. And we used to time them about, I don't know, about 8 minutes, 10 minutes to do the wheel. It's just an assistance, it just assists to the build of the wheels. Now I'm going to check the offset now. And I can see now it's nearly in half an inch there. And what I'll do, because it needs to come about 1 millimetre this way, I'm going to start at about a famous point and just tighten one side of the wheel.
Your reference point is your valve stem?
It is, yes, yeah. But I just noticed there's another valve hole there, which is called the security bolt. So at least we know we start
rim lock.
somewhere. Yeah, rim lock, that's it.
Yeah.
We start from a starting point, so we know where we start and finish. It also helps, as I said before, that you've tightened all the spokes.
Yep.
Never leave one loose. You can tell by the sound it's taking tension of the rim now.
Yeah. Do you run like at the end, do you ding the spoke with your screwdriver or something to get the sound?
It basically,
pitch, or
yes, you can. It tells you whether the spokes are under tension.
Do you do that? Or
No.
Don't need to.
No. Only occasionally when it's gone quicker than we think. And we realise that it just saves time, that's all. Obviously a dull spoke will be dull,
Yeah.
and obviously a tighter spoke will be a rim.
Let's have a look at that.
Yep. It's a bit of side to side to get out yet. So just concentrate on that area. As a point of interest, we never actually trew them on the side here because of the way the rims are manufactured, especially where the weld is.
Yeah.
It's never perfect. It's never perfect. So what we do, we actually look in here where the actually tyre the tyre sits in the well of the rim, and that's where the truing begins.
Yeah.
Never on the outside because of the way it's manufactured. So what we have to basically do is imagine the tyre on the rim. If that makes any sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think in use the wheels that don't actually, I don't know what the RPM of a wheel at 50 miles an hour, but it's not that great. Obviously, if it was a turbine blade with 100,000 RPM, then it would matter.
What bike do you ride?
I ride several bikes. Suzuki TL1000, Street Fighter, I must admit, and Harley Davidsons.
Yep.
The big ones.
Yep.
Older the better.
How old?
Well, the oldest Harley is 1938.
Yeah.
So it's got the 16-inch rims and the 5/16 tyres. It goes quite well actually.
What's the name of that one?
It's a Harley UL.
UL.
Yeah.
You ride in the winter?
No, not anymore. No, if I've had the choice, you don't ride bikes in the winter.
Nah.
And we can see it's becoming quite true now. Now I'm quite happy to leave it at that stage now, and I'm going to what we call tension the wheel. So again, we start at a point that we know of. We're going to do about 4 or 5 turns on each spoke now. Because they're in sets of 4, the next spoke will be the second spoke in the set. So that was the first one I've just done. Let's go around this time now and tighten the second spoke in a group of 4.
So miss 2, go to the...
Yeah.
Okay. Are all dirt bikes the same, or...?
More or less, that's right, yeah.
How do you work that out, mate?
It's just that the spokes are always made in groups of 4, which is how it is. They rarely cross more than 4. They start to cross 1 and cross 4. That's for strength. You never cross 5.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to do the third one now, which is that spoke there.
Yep. So by the end of it, you've probably had 16 to 20 of those turns on each of those spokes so far, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right.
What? To now?
Yeah.
How many more you got? How many of those quarter turns or whatever you're doing now have you got to go?
I'm feeling now that the tension is just about right for the type of bike it is and the size of the spoke. So I'm just going to fine tune it now.
Yep.
There's hardly any up and down at all in that because the way
Let me have a look.
Yeah. This is where we test the wheel and decide where the bead
Hang
is.
on.
It's hardly fraction. There's about 3 millimetres at the most.
How will you get that out?
Well, that's what I call a high spot there. And I should do a couple of turns on a group of 4 spokes here. And that will hopefully, we've got most of that out. There's a bit of a dip in the rim there, or a dent in the rim, so I'm going to slacken off 4 spokes. And that again should put that right. I'm just going to do the same again. And then just the last bit of a fine finesse, if you like. It's just a matter of illumination. As Scott said in his previous sort of a discussion, the wheel limit is about 1.5 millimetre, which looks atrocious actually. But when you consider the tyres are never perfectly moulded round, and the way the rims are manufactured.
What do you call that? You call it the
This would be the
run out?
Yeah, up and down run out.
Yeah.
But we're ignoring the weld. It's very important, because no rim is perfectly round. It's quite a brutal process of manufacturing rims. I can see where that kick is there, that's on the weld, so we're going to ignore that and just concentrate on the areas where we can get out. So that's the up and down sorted out. So we're just going to adjust now the side to side. Then I'm going to come in here. And it also gets the up and down out as well. This is the side to side.
Can you show me how it is now before you true it right? That's
Sure.
for reference.
Yeah. It's not bad.
It's not bad,
It's
okay.
about 2.5 millimetre at the moment.
Yeah.
If you measured it. So I'm just going to now fine tune it, as I say.
How far off are we, Steve, you reckon?
So about another minute or two.
Minute or two?
Yep.
Is that the weld you can hear? Or?
Yes. Yeah. And we're doing smaller turns on the spoke. We're doing less work on it now. Finer movements. Let me look here. I'll be quite happy with that wheel on my bike now.
Let me have a look.
Not forgetting to ignore the side.
So Steve's happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Happy with that.
And that is pretty much it. That's a true wheel. Another question we get asked sometimes is about the drum, whether the drum's okay. And we do generally, as a whole, just test the drum. And very quickly, we just put a screwdriver or turnkey in there. You can see it's not running out at all.
So not overlised.
No, it's about 6 thou is about as maximum as you go. But usually, before it needs, we really need to see it on moving the screwdriver for any work. A bit of side to side is okay. That's no problem as long as it's this. You feel it on the brake. If it's any up and down movement in the drum itself, then it needs skimming.
Yeah.
But any side to side, sometimes you might find the drum doing this business. That's quite acceptable for a road bike, not for racing, obviously.
Yeah.
But I can feel that straight away. That's ringing true.
Okay.
And the present with the skimming, most of the brake shoes or brake shoes will bed in very easily to the brake drum surface.
Yeah.
There's no need to skim it every time you change the brake pads, brake shoes. So I hope that explains that for you.
Yeah. Well done, mate. Well, I'm not going to film the other one because we've seen it once now. But
That's it. That's the job
thanks
done.
a lot.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.
No problem.